All right, so we've got lesson 62, complex roots of quadratic equations solved by completing the square. I'm going to teach you an easier way to do the hard completing the square problems. Are you guys good with that? Okay, if it's going to throw you off, don't freak out. You can do the old way, but this is actually going to make your life easier for completing the square. Okay, so what we're going to do is what we always do for the first step, which is put it in order. The x squared piece goes first. So that's the 3x squared. The x piece always goes second, plus a space. And the random number here moves to the other side. Since it's positive, it goes -5 plus a space. So here's where your work gets a little easier. So instead of factoring the 3 out, we're going to divide every single thing, every problem, every little number, by 3. Okay, so I'm going to just make this a 1 here and divide all these numbers by 3. All right, so now I have x squared in front. I have -1/3 x. We still have our plus a space, and our -5/3 now, plus a space. This saves us the factoring and remultiplying. Now we do the same thing we always do. We take half the middle number and square it. What's half of -1/3? -1/6. Write it down below. And we're going to square that -1/6. So that becomes a +1/36. And this time, because there's no number in front, we get to go ahead and just put +1/36. We don't have to do 3 times it or 2 times it or anything because we didn't factor it out. We divided it all ahead of time. All right? Now, these 3 make a perfect square trinomial, and if I were to factor them, they would factor to x minus 1/6 times x minus 1/6. Or we can just remember the half always goes in our parentheses. On the right-hand side, we do need a common denominator, so I would multiply this by 12/12. So this is -60/36 plus 1/36. We get a negative number. That's okay. -59/36. All right, the next step in the process is always to square root. We're going to try to isolate x. So I'm going to square root both sides. And that leaves me with just x minus 1/6. On the right-hand side, we cannot forget plus or minus. And 59. Does 59 have any perfect square numbers that we could like simplify it all? No, 59 is prime, right? But what happens when we have a negative under the house? What can we pull out of it? An I. So we're going to take the I out, and it leaves me with just 59 because I took out the -1. And we can go ahead and take the square root of 36, which is 6. Okay? So the I comes out of the house. Now I'm going to move the 1/6 over, the -1/6, so it becomes +1/6 plus or minus I root 59/6. And that is our final answer. Do you guys like this method better? This is easier. So we'll do it this way. All right, let's try the next one. Solve by completing the square. So Rachel, what's the first thing we're going to do? Put it in order. So the 5x squared goes first. The -x plus a space. 3 moves to the other side. -3 plus a space. Olivia, what number's in front of x that we don't see? That is there, yeah, but there's also -1. And yes, so Olivia, what's the next step we're going to do? Yeah, we're going to get rid of the 5 that's in front so that we just have an x squared. So I'm going to divide by 5, I'm going to divide by 5, and I'm going to divide by 5. So this cancels. I have x squared minus 1/5 x plus a space equals -3/5 plus a space. Chloe, what's half of negative 1/5? Good. Negative 1/10. And we're going to square it. So, Caden, what do I put in my space? Very good. 1 over 100. 1 over 100. All right, we made a perfect square trinomial. These three terms make a perfect square trinomial so they factor to something that is the same thing. So, Ethan, what goes in my parentheses to show I factored this? Good. Squared. Okay, common denominator is 100. So, Ian, what am I going to multiply this first fraction by? Yep. So I have negative 60 over 100 plus 1 over 100. That's magical. We got negative 59 again. Over 100. Okay. Landry, what's the next step? Okay, square root both sides. So that leaves me with just x minus 1/10. And instead of this negative sign, Anna, what am I going to do to get rid of that? Good. We have plus minus. We have I. And then the square root of 59. And the square root of 100 is 10. Now I'm going to move the negative 1/10 over for our final step. So we get positive 1/10 plus or minus I root 59 over 10. All right, let's try one on the whiteboard. See how